Wildlife photographers, without a doubt, have one of the coolest jobs in the world. Every professional wildlife photographer will tell you that the secret to capturing those once-in-a-lifetime moments is patience and being in the right place at the right time. However, sometimes there's just no secret, as the animals once in a while tend to do the unexpected and end up surprising the photographer. Some photographers were lucky enough to encounter their dearest animal friends from up close, perhaps a little too close on occasion. Welcome to another episode of YouTube 10s, and today we're bringing you 11 rare moments when photographers encountered animals too closely. From a lioness stealing the photographer's camera to a bear peacefully sitting next to a wildlife filmmaker. And stay with us to see why the BBC cameraman got smacked in the nuts by this angry sheep. We will see how the real-life Timon used this photographer to find his best friend Pumbaa. So, without further ado, let's get started. Number 11. Lion sniffs cameraman. Imagine you are photographing a lion pride from a safe distance 1 minute, and the next thing you know, a curious huge lion is near you and sniffing your stuff. This is the story of when wildlife photographer Graham Springer came across a pride of lions peacefully roaring in the early morning. It was simply another day at the office for him. Underneath his car, he was carefully shooting the lion's morning routine from a distance, while his colleague filmed and captured a frightening encounter on camera. One particular lioness took a different route and came freakishly close to him. Graham did not have enough time to get into his car and had no choice but to stand still and wait. The lioness investigated him and his camera gear and left. It was one of his most nerve-wracking experiences. Number 10. Sheep goes nuts. While it may not have been what the content creators were looking for, a BBC cameraman was headbutted in the balls by an angry sheep, and the video went viral on the internet. After filming lions, sharks, snow leopards, gorillas, and all kinds of other potentially dangerous animals, the cameraman may have been a little too trusting of this Cameroon sheep named Cecil at an animal park. Users on the internet wrote some crazy comments on the video when the BBC posted it on their YouTube channel with the title, "Cameraman Smacked in the Nuts by Angry Sheep." One user said, "Never thought I'd see the BBC use nuts in their video title." Another one made a joke saying, "Explain this to your insurance." Viewers were amused. Number 9. Bear friend. The second largest species of bear in the world is the brown bear. Drew Hamilton, a photographer, was in for a once-in-a-lifetime meeting with one of these magnificent monsters. A gigantic brown bear approached his station and sat right next to him while he was shooting and photographing other brown bears. It was as if the bear had forgotten what kind of species it was. Drew could only keep calm and enjoy his new friend's company, and he was probably frozen in dread. However, after a few minutes, the bear leaves his new human friend. Number 8. Magic meerkats. Not all close encounters run the risk of being deadly and dangerous. Meerkats are naturally curious animals. Scientists and filmmakers have been studying the animals for nearly 2 decades, which means they are perfectly comfortable with being photographed. Some would even say they get a little too comfortable around us. Like these meerkats, who not only came incredibly close to these 2 wildlife cameramen, but even took some mid-afternoon shade just under their buttocks. Or this meerkat, who climbed onto a cameraman's head and used him as a tall lookout post to scan for potential predators and look out for its young. Number 7. Pack of wolves. When photographer and filmmaker Steve Backshall encountered an unexpected group of visitors, a pack of wolves, he was astonished. Wagging their tails and smelling Steve and his colleague, the wolves closed in on them. Because of their dog-like behavior, one's imagination easily jumps to the conclusion that the wolves are the forbidden huskies. My natural reaction would be to run as quickly as possible, but Steve and the crew remained cool. Wolves in the wild usually do not pose a threat to humans. Wolves are very cautious animals that generally avoid contact with humans. But not to mention, if provoked, wolves are quite unpredictable, and an encounter with them can turn lethal in a moment. Fortunately for Steve and his crew, this pack was on a different mission, probably to return the favor and learn more about humans as well. The wolves became so friendly that they not only let Steve and his crew pet them, but they also began howling with him. That's very cute. When you watch this encounter, you have to wonder whether this is how our forefathers domesticated wolves in the Stone Age. Well, a word of caution, do not attempt this in your local forests. I don't have to tell you what could happen. For Steve and his crew, it was certainly a once-in-a-lifetime experience. Don't you agree? Number 6. Rhinographs. Photographer Kim decides to take some up-close photographs of this black rhino with the sunset on the horizon as the background. The shots are amazing, but what Kim doesn't figure out fast enough is that through the camera lens, objects look a lot further away than they actually are. Kim is, however, lucky enough to avoid the charging rhino as he dashes into the bushes. The rhino eventually leaves, and Kim is lucky enough to survive the ordeal. The photos were, however, worth the risk, don't you think? This other rhino is either photophobic or doesn't want the world to know. These photographers came too close to the rhino and he didn't like it. The photographers appear unconcerned about the charging rhino at first, but as the rhino shows no indication of slowing down, they become frightened. These enormous tanks are known to charge towards vehicles and even overturn them with their short horns. Trespassers are not spared because they are territorial. Fortunately, the photographers survived and are able to continue their lives, but only after learning to keep their distance in the future and having a longer set of camera lenses. Number 5. Pet hyena. Hyenas are famed scavengers and often dine on the leftovers of other predators. They are one of the animals with the strongest bite force in the animal kingdom. They are portrayed as deadly, and those who have come across them can tell you that that's not a laughing matter. However, despite their cunning and savage nature, hyenas can turn out to be quite adorable. Don't agree with me? Then check out this full-grown male spotted hyena acting like a puppy. Kevin Richardson is a wildlife conservationist and self-taught sanctuary owner who works with African lions, black leopards, spotted hyenas, and striped hyenas. He is well known for playing football with lions and sleeping with them. But check this out. He is more than happy to give the hyena a few more pets and show love to it. The hyena doesn't even seem to mind, and it somehow gives the impression that he's actually petting a dog. Don't you just love to see it? Number 4. Cheetah cubs. Cheetahs. You probably already know they are the fastest land animals and can go from 0 to 60 in just 3 seconds. For our next story, meet wildlife photographer Kim Woolhooter, who has an up-close encounter with a litter of cheetah cubs. The curious cubs approach Kim as their mother watches from a distance. Undisturbed, the mother continues resting as Kim goes ahead and even pets one of the cubs. Wouldn't you want to pet one? Look at how adorable they are. It is a fantasy for most of us, but for Kim, it was a tick off his bucket list. However, do not try this in the wild because of the obvious reason that mother cheetahs are very protective, and if you try something like this, you might not be able to pet anything else ever again. Kim was just lucky. We might not say the same thing about you. Number 3. Cute seal. Professional photographer Alexei Trofimov had an exciting and rare moment while out in Lake Peipus in Russia. Alexei had gone to photograph the frozen wild as well as the seals throughout the winter. Alexei had attempted for 3 years to photograph the seals, but each time they noticed him, they would disappear into the water beneath the ice. Fortunately, his 3 years of patience were rewarded on this day, as this adorable baby seal not only let Alexei get near to it, but also lie still as he took photos. The baby seal then lifted one of its flippers as if to say hello to Alexei, something he hadn't done at first. Or it could have been that he was saying goodbye to Alexei before vanishing into the river. What do you think? Baby seals are easily frightened and thus are hard to take pictures of, but this particular baby seal was a special kind. Number 2. Curious gorillas. Gorillas are the largest living primates, and Uganda is known to be the home of thousands of silverback gorillas. Photographer John King was getting prepared to enter the dense forest in search of gorillas for his next documentary. However, he was caught off guard as the gorillas approached him through the dense forest. At the base camp, a family of silverback gorillas encountered King and his team, and the young and adult gorillas came up close and personal. John is even groomed by one of the silverbacks. The gorillas leave after a few minutes of interaction, leaving John speechless. Before we reveal number 1, be sure to check out our other amazing videos on our channel and give us a like if you enjoyed this video so far. And tell us in the comments which one of these you like the most and why. Number 1. Photographer Lioness. Professional photographer Barbara Jensen was filming a lion pride from her group in a 4x4 vehicle in Botswana's Mashatu Game Reserve when a valuable piece of equipment dropped out of the vehicle and onto the ground. As soon as the photographer dropped her expensive camera, a protective lioness jumped up and moved towards the vehicle to see what was on the ground. She came so close that Barbara and her crew had no chance to get their camera back and had to go away from it. The lioness then snatched up Jensen's camera and telephoto lens in her mouth and carried it a distance before giving it to her cubs, who then pounced on their new toy and began playing with it. They then dragged it through the dirt, chewed on the lens hood, and then, fortunately, like most kids, soon grew tired with their new toy and left it behind. After retrieving her abandoned camera, Jensen found it was working perfectly, aside from teeth marks across the surface. Because it was only aesthetic damage, she never had it repaired, because, let's be honest, what photographer can show off that their lens had been inside a lion's mouth? And that's it for the times wild animals surprised photographers. Which of these animal encounters impressed you the most, and which one would you wish to come face to face with or even pet? Let us know in the comments section below. And if you liked this video, you should definitely check out our video on your screen right now.